As I walked into the gym for prom night, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was not quite right. The decorations looked cheap and tacky, the music sounded like it was from another decade, and the other students seemed on edge, as if they were hiding some dark secret. But I brushed it all aside, convinced myself that I was just imagining things, and joined my friends on the dance floor. As the clock struck 12, everything changed. At first, it was just a subtle shift in the energy of the room. A chill ran down my spine, and I felt my heart race with fear. But then I saw it. Every single student had transformed into something unrecognizable. Their faces twisted into grotesque smiles, their eyes glazed over with madness. They moved in perfect synchrony, stepping on broken glass and ripping apart anyone who tried to escape. In a panic, I grabbed onto my friends, but they pushed me away, joining the chaos around us. I tried to run, but found myself trapped by a wall of screaming, flailing bodies. Every time I thought I had made it out, someone would grab hold of me, pulling me back in. The air was thick with blood and sweat, and the only sounds were the sickening crunch of bones breaking and the haunting laughter of those possessed. I closed my eyes, waiting for the end, resigned to my fate. But instead of death, I woke up cold and alone, my clothes soaked in sweat. It was just a dream, I told myself, trying desperately to cling to reality. But as I lay there, I heard whispers coming from outside my window. Peering through the blinds, I saw a group of figures lurking in the shadows, staring straight at me. Their grinning faces were illuminated by flickering candles, casting ominous shadows across their features. And then, without warning, they started to chant in unison. Dance, little one. Join our death dance. Trembling with fear, I locked every door and window, hoping they wouldn't find a way inside. But no matter how hard I tried, I could feel them getting closer, the whisperings growing more insistent. Desperate, I called with my last bit of strength. I managed to reach for the pepper spray in my bag and blindly aimed at the shapeshifters closing in on me. I pressed down on the trigger, releasing a cloud of red mist that enveloped them, causing them to howl in pain before melting away into nothingness. Panting heavily, I collapsed onto the ground, tears streaming down my face. My body ached from the struggle, and my mind raced with memories of the dream, flashbacks of the crazed students at the prom, and the eerie whispers in the darkness. But for now, I was safe, or so I hoped. Days passed uneventfully after that terrifying night, and I forced myself to push the memory of those events to the back of my mind, until one morning I received a text message with just 2 words. Join us. No sender name, no context, just a simple command to join an unknown entity. Fear welled up within me once again. For weeks I received similar messages, always anonymous, urging me to take part in something sinister. My nerves on edge, I avoided going anywhere alone, always making sure someone accompanied me wherever I went. But even as I surrounded myself with safety measures, the threat never truly dissipated. It wasn't long before news broke out about the disappearance of several local teenagers. Police investigations yielded no answers, yet the cases remained open, leaving families torn and distressed. The townspeople began to murmur about supernatural forces at play, pointing fingers at a vengeful spirit seeking retribution. And then, shortly after that, A new message arrived, simply stating, "We know you remember. Join us now." My hands shook as I read the message repeatedly, knowing full well that whatever force lay behind these strange occurrences was indeed aware of my knowledge. This was it, proof positive that I hadn't been crazy since the start. All along, I suspected something terrible had happened at Prom. A notion later confirmed by the shape-shifting strangers. My next step required careful consideration. However, it became clear that I had no choice but to confront the darkness that had been plaguing me. I needed to uncover the truth behind the horrors I had witnessed and the messages I had received. With a trembling resolve, I began my own investigation, delving into the history of the town, its legends, and any reports of similar occurrences in the past. Late nights were spent poring over old newspaper archives and interviewing locals who had lived in the town for generations. Piece by piece, a sinister story began to emerge. Decades ago, there had been a tragedy during a prom night at the very same gym where I'd experienced my nightmare. The details were hazy, but it involved a fire that claimed the lives of several students. The incident had been shrouded in mystery, with rumors of occult practices and a curse that had befallen the town. As I dug deeper, I discovered a hidden pattern of disappearances that occurred every few years, always involving young people around the time of the prom. It seemed that the town had become a feeding ground for a malevolent force, a curse that demanded sacrifices to sustain its power. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I sought out a local historian who had dedicated years to uncovering the truth behind the town's dark history. Together, we pieced together the puzzle, connecting the dots between the tragedy of the past and the nightmare I had experienced. We learned of an ancient ritual that had been performed by a secret society seeking to harness dark powers for their own gain. The ritual required the sacrifice of young souls, their energy fueling the malevolent force that had haunted the town for generations. It seemed that the cursed souls of the deceased prom-goers had been trapped, reliving their torment and perpetuating the cycle of horror. With this revelation, I knew what I had to do. I had to break the curse, free the trapped souls, and put an end to the suffering that had plagued the town for far too long. It was a daunting task, but I couldn't turn away from the responsibility that had fallen upon my shoulders. Together with a small group of trusted friends, we prepared ourselves for the final confrontation. Armed with ancient texts and protective artifacts, we ventured into the depths of the gym, the very heart of the cursed place. The air was heavy with anticipation, and a sense of impending doom loomed over us. As we reached the center of the gym, we found ourselves surrounded by a swirling vortex of dark energy. The grotesque figures from my nightmares emerged, their eyes glowing with malevolence. But we stood our ground, determined to break the curse and free the souls trapped within. With unwavering resolve, we recited incantations and performed rituals that had been passed down through generations. The air crackled with energy, and the ground shook beneath our feet. Figures screamed in agony, their forms dissipating into the ether. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the curse was broken. The gym returned to its former state, no longer tainted by the darkness that had consumed it. We stood there, breathless and victorious, knowing that we had put an end to the cycle of horror. In the days that followed, the town began to heal. The disappearances ceased, and a sense of peace settled over the community. The nightmare had come to an end, and the memories of the horrors that had plagued us would fade with time. But for me, the experience would never be forgotten. The nightmares had left their mark, a reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of our world. I vowed to use my knowledge and experiences to help others, to protect them from the unseen dangers that lie in wait. As for the gym, it stood as a somber reminder of the past, no longer a place of joy and celebration. It remained empty, a haunting symbol of the price that had been paid for the secrets hidden within its wall. And so life went on, but with a newfound understanding that sometimes the most horrifying things are not the stuff of imagination, but the very real nightmares that walk among us. For just $3 a month, you can have your name featured in my YouTube videos and descriptions. Not only will you be supporting my channel, but you'll also be immortalized in the credits of my content. If you're looking for something a bit more personalized, consider becoming a $25 a month patron. I'll voice your stories and bring them to life on my channel. Create a special drawing just for you, or even write a unique story tailored to your interests. So don't hesitate. Join my patron community today and help me keep the spooky stories coming. And remember, together we can save each other from the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for your support.